The San Antonio Spurs are linked to a sharpshooter. NBA Insider reveals a major update on the San Antonio Spurs' future trade aspirations and trade possibilities, and we are going to break it down here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys take a spur of the moment to get every Spurs moment by hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss all the great content we have coming for you. But San Antonio Spurs already being linked to a sharpshooter who would help them contend. Spurs seem to be on the verge of a breakthrough. We know this. We just got De'Aaron Fox. We just obviously have Victor Wembanyama. We drafted the Rookie of the Year this year. We're on the verge of a breakthrough. But the Nets, do they have the missing piece for the San Antonio Spurs to really break through and become legitimate contenders throughout the entire Western Conference? The meteoric rise of Victor Wembanyama has mandated the Spurs to take a more aggressive approach to fleshing out the roster around him without mortgaging too much of the long-term vision. The balancing act led them to pounce on De'Aaron Fox ahead of past February's trade deadline. Could Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets be next? As it turns out, if the Spurs had it their way, Johnson may already be in San Antonio. While speaking with Yes Network Megan Triplett, senior NBA insider at HoopsHype, Michael Scotto, name-dropped the Spurs as one of the teams who showed interest in the 29-year-old sharpshooter. And this is his quote here. Cam Johnson had a lot of interest at the trade deadline. Some other teams that I don't think were mentioned, but I had heard also that checked in were the San Antonio Spurs looking for some shooting around Victor Wembanyama. That is perfect. He is the guy. Obviously, we have been linked to big dogs like Kevin Durant. And of course, Kevin Durant, it's Kevin Durant. Who wouldn't want that? But Cam Johnson makes much more sense. We're going to break that down here in just a moment. San Antonio will need to get in line if an interest in Johnson persists. Scotto adds that he will draw some significant interest this summer as the trade market develops, and that Brooklyn also knows it doesn't have to move on, even if it navigates the early stages of a rebuild. Granted, the Spurs don't have too much concern of themselves with rival interests. They remain flush with assets and flexibility even after the Fox trade. Can Cam Johnson help nudge them into the direction of title contention as early as next season? That is the question. We've got a top 15 player in the game at minimum. To me, top 10 player in the game. We've got a top 10 player in the game. We've got a top 8 point guard in the game. We've got one of the most promising young rookies in the game, going to be obviously in his second year. We've got a great third, fourth option in Devin Vassell. We've got a good defender in Jeremy Sochan. All right, as of this moment in time, we've got Keldon Johnson. We've got pieces on this roster. Harrison Barnes, Chris Paul is still with us as of this moment in time. We have so much flexibility and so much ability to move off of pieces to get a guy like Cam Johnson, but still not mortgage, okay, we have to give up this pick and that pick and that pick. We have to give up all of that. We don't have to do that in this sense, where we might have to do something along those lines with Kevin Durant. Cam Johnson is a perfect offensive fit in San Antonio. Calling Cam Johnson an ideal fit in San Antonio is akin to looking at Victor Wembanyama and yelling, "He's tall." It's just a matter of fact. And of course it is just a matter of fact. Look at Cam Johnson. We look at Cam Johnson here, 18.8 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 3.4 assists, shoots 47.5% from the floor and 39% from three. He is one of the elite shooters in the game today. And we know the one thing that the San Antonio Spurs are lacking, you guys watch the game just as much as I do, we're lacking shooting. Stephon Castle, streaky. Victor Wembanyama was one of our best shooters, and obviously he's a good shooter, don't get me wrong, but I know you guys are just like me for the most part, would love to see Victor Wembanyama operate from 18 feet, from 20 feet and in. His mid-range game is elite when he actually gets to it, but he doesn't get to it all that often. Chris Paul can shoot threes, of course. Devin Vassell has been shooting better as of late, but he can be even streaky at times. He's more of a scorer than a shooter. Julian Champagnie has been up and down this season. I mean, the list goes on. Keldon Johnson's not a great shooter, so we don't really have shooting. Harrison Barnes is a good corner three-point shooter, of course, so like Harrison Barnes, I'm giving him credit there too. But we don't really have shooting. De'Aaron Fox, even when he comes in, like he's like 34-ish% three-point shooter. I mean, but when we Cam Johnson, we get him on this roster, that elevates us to a whole nother level. Johnson's skill set is universally scalable. Almost 40% of his shot attempts this season have come as catch-and-fire threes. Looks like he is downing at north of a 40% clip. And obviously the efficiency of the Nets this season has been up and down. It's the Nets. They're not a great team. But Johnson ranks in the 16th percentile of catch-and-shoot quality and 17% of overall three-point shot quality, according to our B-Ball Index. So Cam Johnson, essentially what we're saying is he can shoot and he can play. And we know he can shoot and we know he can play. And he would be perfect on this roster. We wouldn't mortgage the future. We wouldn't even mortgage today. And we'd still be able to get ourselves a quality player. Fox has turned into more promising seasons from deep, but he hit just 34% of his wide open triples this year before shutting him down. And defenses have no qualms about helping off of him. It's okay to help off of Fox. Like, he is a solid shooter. He is streaky. When he is hot, he can get rolling. And when he is hot, he can go off for 60. We know that. We've seen that before. And then when that happens, because he is one of the best downhill in the league, and we know that Fox is a great facilitator. We love De'Aaron Fox here. But obviously, he is not the shooter that we need. Castle's obviously struggles are more pronounced. He is up and down at best during the season so far. I mean, this season, Stephon Castle, he's only shooting 28% from three, so he's not doing anything great either. But you get a guy like Cam Johnson in there, his off-ball pull, he's in the 99th percentile of gravity, opens up the runway. Could you imagine having a pick and roll with Wemby and then having Cam Johnson on the strong side? So you can't really help off of him because that's tray ball, corner pocket, or wing three. And then you have De'Aaron Fox either getting a guy on his hip with a downhill head of steam, or you get Wemby on the switch and you get a guard on him. It would make that lethal. And then in the other corner, you get someone like Harrison Barnes who can knock down shots, and then if not, you get Stephon Castle who can get to the dunker spot. Even though he is short, he is still obviously the best athlete on the roster. So you're just in a situation where you can do so much for this roster with Cam Johnson. And yes, you might have to move off of Jeremy Sochan. That's okay. I understand. I like Jeremy Sochan too. He plays defense at a high level. But when you have Victor Wembanyama, you have Stephon Castle, you have De'Aaron Fox, you have Harrison Barnes, you're able to move off of players like Jeremy Sochan. Even though he is young and talented, you can do that. Or Keldon Johnson. These guys are movable, though you don't really want to see all of them go. But matching Johnson's income money is much simpler because the Spurs have cap space, because everybody is young and not getting paid other than De'Aaron Fox and Keldon Johnson. This is their money situation right here. And Devin Vassell, sorry. But De'Aaron Fox is making some money. He's going to be due for an extension here. And then we got Devin Vassell. He's making money, but that's easy. That's an easy contract to move off of, especially with the way the NBA is today. Keldon Johnson, $19 million. Barnes, $18 million. That's nothing crazy. I mean, Wemby's got a couple more years, and then he'll be extended. Obviously, we know he's getting the super-duper max because it's Victor Wembanyama. But Johnson's $20.6 million. Essentially, you put Keldon Johnson in there, that's it. Put Keldon Johnson in there and you can move off. If you wanted to move off of Jeremy Sochan, you could put Jeremy Sochan and maybe Harrison Barnes. If you wanted to get off of Harrison Barnes, I'd actually like to keep Harrison Barnes for that. But regardless of the way, you can make the money work easily with this roster and the picks work with this. Cam Johnson would be a perfect fit for this roster. He is the person that we should be gunning for this offseason. We don't have to give up much. You get to keep Fox. You get to keep everybody of the core 4, 5, 6. You get to keep really all of them. Maybe you have to give up 1 or 2 and a couple picks. And we can give up picks because we have plenty of picks. You do that, you get a guy, you get a shooter, and you know what that does? That propels us to being one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the Western Conference before the season starts, and then you see how it plays out. And then maybe at that point, if you do need to make a huge splash, you still have picks. You still have someone like Devin Vassell. You should probably be able to keep him in a Cam Johnson trade. You could still move off of someone like Devin Vassell if you really needed to make a splash. Say Giannis isn't happy in Milwaukee or whatnot. Like, there's so many options. There's so much out there you can make with these moves. So Cam Johnson to the San Antonio Spurs. From this insider, we were already interested in doing so and getting Cam Johnson. Why not double back and go get him in the offseason, have him acclimated with the roster, and we get to move forward. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about Cam Johnson to the San Antonio Spurs and what you think that would do for the San Antonio Spurs moving forward into next season. This has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope to see all of you guys very soon.